Imagine vanishing from the face of the earth for over 200 days, only to surface inside a $2,000 a night Alpine fortress. But just as the world realized where she was hiding, the sanctuary completely crumbled. Overnight, she fled into the freezing mountain air with nowhere left to turn. Now, the ultimate royal illusion has shattered, leaving everyone to ask the exact same question. Who is really funding her escape, and what terrifying truth is she running from? Tucked deep within the snow-covered Austrian Alps sits a fortress of absolute luxury, a high-end medical spa where the world's elite pay a premium just to disappear. For months, this $2,000 a night sanctuary was the perfect hiding place for Sarah Ferguson. Insiders say she spent 213 days completely out of public view, hiding behind thick concrete walls and ordering room service to avoid a single wandering eye. She wasn't there to relax. She was there to escape a brewing storm that threatened to tear her life apart. But sanctuaries only protect you if your location remains a secret. The illusion of safety shattered the moment a local photographer captured her face through a glass window. Within hours, those images flashed across global news networks, compromising her multi-thousand-dollar safe haven in an instant. Reports suggest the panic behind closed doors was immediate. The Duchess didn't just pack her bags. She reportedly fled into the freezing Alpine night, leaving royal watchers wondering how she could suddenly walk away from a $14,000 a week bill. This brings us to the burning question that everyone is whispering behind closed doors. How does someone with a notoriously messy financial history afford a luxury fortress while running from the law? Rumors indicate her bank accounts were draining rapidly, and her time was officially running out. But the real reason she fled the Alps wasn't just the flashing cameras. It was the sudden unsealing of explosive documents that connected her back to a dark, forbidden past. The unsealing of high-profile legal documents in America sent a shockwave straight through the Alpine mountains, exposing a dark past that could no longer be hidden. It is claimed that a fresh wave of public records contained highly sensitive materials, detailing her historical ties to the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. For years, the public suspected the depth of this connection, but the cold, hard data revealed something far more damaging. According to sources, the paperwork included direct communications where she referred to the individual as a supreme friend. The public backlash was immediate, fierce, and entirely unforgiving. But the paper trail didn't stop with old messages. Insiders say the unsealed documents brought back to light deeply troubling allegations regarding a 2009 visit. Reports suggest she allegedly took her young daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, to visit the controversial figure at his Florida home shortly after his initial release from custody. While legal experts emphasize that the records do not indicate any legal wrongdoing on her part, public perception moves at lightning speed. The court of public opinion had already made up its mind, and the reputational damage was catastrophic. This wasn't just a minor media hiccup, it was a total collapse of her social standing. The fallout from these revelations triggered a massive domino effect that began tearing down everything she had built over decades. Almost overnight, the organizations and institutions that once proudly carried her name began moving quickly to sever all ties. And the speed at which her world began to crumble left everyone wondering just how much she was about to lose. The total erasure of a royal identity does not happen slowly. It happens with the terrifying speed of a landslide. Almost overnight, the institutional networks that once protected Sarah Ferguson began systematically wiping her name from their records. Massive global charities dropped her without warning, desperate to distance themselves from the radioactive scandal. Major foundations dedicated to health, research, and children's literacy severed ties within a matter of hours, delivering a clear message that her association was now entirely toxic. Her currency of status was rapidly turning into dust. But the most crushing blow didn't come from a boardroom. It came from a historic vote that stripped away her honor. In a stunning and unanimous decision, local officials stripped her of the freedom of the city of York. In royal life, titles and civic honors are the ultimate symbols of legitimacy and power. When those are taken away, it is the modern equivalent of being officially cast out into the wilderness. Reports suggest this symbolic exile cut deeper than any tabloid headline ever could. She was suddenly a woman without a country, without a platform, and without a steady stream of income. With her public roles completely gone and her professional network destroyed, her lifestyle became completely unsustainable. The luxury fortress in the mountains was no longer an option, forcing her into a highly precarious game of survival. And as the walls closed in, a devastating financial reality began to surface, exposing a massive hidden debt that she could no longer hide from the world. Living on borrowed time and borrowed money is a dangerous game, especially when the whole world is watching your bank account. The massive question mark hanging over her $14,000 a week Alpine escape has officially triggered a fierce financial panic. Royal insiders openly claim that the idea of Sarah funding this level of extreme luxury entirely out of her own pocket completely strains belief. For a woman who has spent decades battling high-profile debts and messy business failures, the numbers simply do not add up. The money had to be coming from somewhere or someone else. Behind the scenes, a desperate hunt for liquid cash was already underway. Rumors indicate that secret, high-stakes negotiations have been happening behind closed doors for a massive multi-million-dollar tell-all project. Whether it is an explosive television interview or a highly controversial memoir, sources suggest she needs a historic payday to keep her empire from collapsing entirely. She has always used her media savvy to survive, but this time, the price of admission might be higher than she can afford. The pressure cooker is reaching a breaking point, and the cash reserves are running dangerously dry. If she cannot secure a massive deal soon, her entire elite lifestyle will vanish forever. Yet, as she panics to find a financial lifeline, people are noticing a glaring absence in her corner. Her notoriously loyal ex-husband, Prince Andrew, has gone completely silent, exposing a deeper, much darker rift at the very heart of the royal lodge. The divorced couple who famously refused to separate has finally hit a wall of absolute silence. For decades, Sarah and Prince Andrew maintained the most unusual relationship in royal history, sharing a roof at the royal lodge and defending each other against every major scandal. They were an unbreakable team, facing the world together when everyone else turned away. But as Sarah fled the Alps with nowhere to go, her notoriously loyal ex-husband was nowhere to be seen. The shocking truth is that the royal lodge is no longer a safe haven because Andrew is currently fighting a brutal eviction war of his own. With her primary sanctuary completely cut off, the Duchess has officially become a high society nomad. Reports suggest she is currently drifting quietly between different European cities, moving discreetly to stay just out of reach of the cameras. She is relying entirely on the generosity of wealthy international friends for a place to sleep at night. It is a highly volatile existence, moving from one private estate to another, never settling and never returning to normal public life. Behind closed doors, the emotional toll of this nomadic life is allegedly reaching a breaking point. Sources say her daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, are deeply concerned about their mother's mental health as they watch her world vanish. The sisters are desperately trying to provide a united front, but family loyalty cannot stop the bleeding. The ultimate question is no longer about where she will hide next, but whether this constant state of flight is about to push her into the final, most devastating phase of her public life. The lively, rule-breaking Duchess the world once knew has officially vanished, replaced by a silent figure running from her own reflection. For decades, she survived the most intense media firestorms by stepping directly into the spotlight and capitalizing on her own notoriety. She was the master of the public comeback, always finding a way to rewrite the narrative and stay visible. But this time, the playbook has completely failed. The glamorous illusions have all evaporated, leaving behind a frantic damage control operation with no clear exit strategy. Her total reliance on the charity of others shows just how close she is to the edge. While some insiders say it is highly unwise to ever rule out another dramatic reinvention from her, the current reality looks far more bleak than a temporary retreat. The options are running thin, the financial lifelines are freezing over, and the public's patience has completely run out. We may very well be watching the final quiet curtain call for one of the most controversial figures in modern royal history. Now, the ultimate decision rests in the court of public opinion, and the clock is ticking. Is she simply waiting out the worst of the storm in the shadows, preparing to shock the world with one final explosive move? Or have the cash reserves, the powerful allies, and the secret sanctuaries finally disappeared for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this story is far from over. If you want to stay ahead of the next massive royal twist, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now before you go.